Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and this channel is chronicling my journey of living my best life with multiple chronic health conditions. Today I will be talking about my experiences with depression. So this video will have a trigger warning on it just because I am going to be talking about wanting to unalive myself and those type of things. So if you think that a video on such topics would trigger you in any way, please do not watch this video. That is not my intent. I also need to state that I am not a medical doctor or a therapist or a psychiatrist or anything of the such. I am just a person with multiple medical conditions sharing their experience on the internet. If you or someone you know is suffering from depression or any other medical condition, please see a medical professional, and that is not me. With that out of the way, I don't know when the depression started. I remember wanting to not be alive as early as kindergarten, so 5 years old or so. I remember wanting to jump out of windows, wondering if that would do it. I remember just taking different pills out of the cabinet in the bathroom. I remember telling my friends when I was probably a little older, I think still in elementary though, that I was just going to lay down in the middle of the road and wait until a car hit me. And they apparently told their parents, and somehow it got back to the social worker who was working with me. And looking back, I realize how, I guess, wrong the reaction was on with the adults in my life, because it wasn't, oh my goodness, what's going on? Why are you saying these things? It was, don't say things like that, you're scaring people. So it was never really trying to figure out what was going on with me or if I was okay. It was more kind of don't talk about it. So it really has always been something I've struggled with, and the next video will be about PTSD, which is where I think most, if not all, of my mental health issues come from. But I never really got help for them in a way that I guess made me think that I was deserving of help. It was always just sort of phrased in a way that I was scaring other people, bothering other people, making other people uncomfortable. But it was never what's going on with you? Are you okay? What's happening? So I definitely think that's carried over into adulthood because I don't have anyone to talk to about anyway, but I don't really think that what I'm going through matters. I don't think about me a lot. I always am thinking about how I'm acting and how that has influence on someone else. And as long as I pretend I'm fine and I'm not bothering anyone else with my issues, I'm not scaring anyone, making anyone uncomfortable, then what I'm actually thinking and going through doesn't matter, because it never mattered growing up. And that's been a realization probably within the last 5 years, I'd say. Just sort of trying to work on my mental health by myself because I don't have anyone. Just sort of realizing where some of my thoughts and beliefs have come from, and realizing it was the actions of the adults in my life when I was younger who were tasked with taking care of me and helping me, and that wasn't exactly what happened. So I've had thoughts of unaliving myself, like I said, since I was very young, 5, 6 years old. Then I've been on many, many, many antidepressants and adjuncts and all of that, starting when I was 14, I believe it was when I was put on Paxil. That was the first antidepressant I was put on, and it was not working, and my doctor at the time just kept doubling the dose. And at one point, I know I was taking more than an adult that was my great aunt's supervisor at the time. And eventually, my great aunt weaned me off of Paxil very, very slowly. I don't remember much of the time period I was on Paxil, but apparently my personality was different. And again, I wasn't acting right, and the adults in my life, were not happy with how I was acting, and it wasn't helping with the depression, so I was weaned off of it. And I don't know when I was put on another antidepressant. I don't really remember the order of things, but looking at the list I've just made, I've been on Paxil, Prozac, Celexa, which did work for a while. I was on a very, very high dose, one that's not even allowed anymore. And as I said in a previous video, my genetic results showed that I metabolize it quickly, which explains why I needed such a high dose. Wellbutrin, Zoloft, Cymbalta, Effexor, Remeron, Trazodone, Seroquel for a while. I was on lithium for a few years for wanting to unalive myself, because lithium's the only medication that has actually been shown in studies to decrease episodes of people unaliving themselves and self-injuring. So I was on that for a while. Currently, as I think I've said, I am on Vibrid, which is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor as well as a partial serotonin agonist. So it works on serotonin in two different ways to increase levels of serotonin. And when I started it, I definitely noticed a difference rather quickly. I started it in January or February of 2020. And that was the first time in years I was going back to the gym, and things were really looking up in the mental health department. And then 2020 happened, and my physical health deteriorated to now, even though I am better sometimes when it comes to depression, physically I'm just not able to go to the gym and do a lot of things like I would like. But it did help. I'm assuming it's still helping. I don't know. I'm still taking it. I'm not currently seeing my psych nurse practitioner because she's on maternity leave. I don't know if she'd be willing to experiment like weaning me down, because I definitely still go through periods of wanting to unalive myself. And as I've said in other videos, it can come on very, very quickly. It happened a few days ago. Like I said, I will be fine all day. And then the evening rolled around, and it was just like, I don't serve a purpose. No one cares about me. Like, I would just be better if I wasn't here. And I normally don't reach out during those times to anyone because, one, like I keep saying, I don't really have anyone to reach out to. So if I were to reach out to someone and their response wasn't helpful, then that could be catastrophic. And there's really nothing they could say that would change my mind in those moments. Like, sure, they could tell me, like, no, I care about you, like, I love you, but no one reaches out, so how much do I believe them? Not at all, really. I mean, even if it came from someone who I talk to on a regular basis, in that moment it's not going to change my mind, so it just doesn't really matter about reaching out to me. I don't make an effort anymore. It just doesn't make a difference. So I doubt my psych nurse practitioner would be willing to take me off of the antidepressant, but it's just something I've always struggled with. I just don't think I matter. And that's just sort of the impression I got from the adults in my life, I guess, growing up, that it wasn't ever about me and what I was feeling or going through. It was always about how I was acting and how that was impacting other people. So that's really all that I think about. It's always pretend you're fine, make sure no one is worried about you, you don't want to be a bother, and that's sort of how I live my life. and why no one ever knows what I'm really thinking and when I'm struggling, unless I tell them. And then, even then, I've been told that I'm making it up and I'm pretending that I am not wanting to be alive. So even when I've talked to therapists in the past, I've been told that I'm pretending, I'm playing a game, that it's just a coping mechanism, that they're not worried about me. So I'm just not worth it. So I don't bother reaching out to anyone ever. But that's sort of my depression story, if you will. It's something I've always struggled with. I assume I will struggle with for a long time until I can undo these thoughts of not mattering. But when even the therapist in your life are sort of also telling you that you don't matter by saying, oh, it's just coping or you're pretending, I don't really see how that's ever going to change at this point, because I won't go back to therapy. I just don't trust them. But that's going to be it for this video. That's sort of depression in a nutshell for me, I suppose. The next video I will talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and sort of how that came about, how it manifests, and how I think it's sort of at the root of all of the other mental health struggles that I have. Anyway, I hope whenever it is I post this and you guys are seeing it, you are having a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.